Did you know that 62% of women report dissatisfaction in the bedroom from common mistakes their partners make? Today, we're diving deep into what these mistakes are and how you can avoid them to enhance your intimacy and have your partner desire you even more. I'm Dominique Davita, and your guide to deepening intimacy and mastering your sexual health. Today, we're tackling top mistakes men make in bed and how these can impact your relationship and sexual satisfaction. Many couples struggle in their sexual relationships without fully understanding why. And a major issue is a lack of communication about desires, boundaries, and other common misunderstandings about what makes sex fulfilling for both partners. We'll explore the top mistakes in the bedroom that can be having you caught block yourself. First, just having a lack of preparation. One thing with men and your arousal scale is males can be really quick to get turned on and you're just ready to go. But you also have to check in with yourself too and be sure that you're prepared, like your personal hygiene. It matters more than you think. Foreplay isn't just what happens minutes before sex. True foreplay begins as soon as the last lovemaking experience ends. I had a partner once that I was so frustrated. We had a child together and we were having disagreements in the evening, and he was not speaking to me in the most respectful tone. He had even said some curse words and had spoke to me in a very demeaning way, which is why that relationship ended. And then later in the bedroom, he all of a sudden wants to initiate lovemaking as if nothing had happened earlier. Okay, let's go. And I just told him, I said, you know what? All of that, the way you communicated with me earlier, that's foreplay, and your foreplay sucked. And I just rolled over and turned my back to him. I was not interested. So just know that how you treat your lover through the day is so important. Now, on the flip side of this, you don't want to be someone where you're just treating the person like there's a meme that says, I'm just saying nice things to you, like putting coins in a machine, hoping to get sex to come out. We can feel women are very intuitive. Are you genuine with how you're sharing with us? Are you genuinely being kind? Or are you just trying to win us over to have some romance that night? Because that authenticity matters a lot, that you're treating us with trust and respect, and the person should be treating you the same as well. You should be treated with trust and respect too. That goes both ways. But again, true foreplay begins right after that last lovemaking session. So treat your partner throughout the day to set the stage and get them in the mood. And remember, emotional connection is key to arousal. Another thing is that your brain is your largest sex organ. So I know personally for me anticipating things helps me to get into the mood. And since men can be really quick to get turned on, I could be thinking about something stressful during the day, something I'm concerned about tomorrow. Then all of a sudden my lover approaches me and is like, oh, boom, let's go. I'm ready. Women, our arousal cycles don't work that way. A lot of times with women, we have a responsive desire where we respond to things after things slowly get initiated, but it takes us time to warm up. And then you may have heard me say in the past, women are more like a conventional oven. We need to be preheated. It takes time. It's a savory dish. For it to be delicious, it may take 30 minutes to an hour to be fully cooked and ready. Whereas men can be more like microwaves, like boom, you're ready to go, ding, you're done, and that's it. And so we're missing one another. And this happened to me in the past where I started to get frustrated whenever I was with a person that I was having a relationship with and we lived together. Because it began to feel to me as if my partner didn't think that they had to do the things that were thoughtful or plan a date night or do this because they're automatically going to get into the bed with me in that evening. And that's super frustrating. And I would ask and request, okay, I really need a date night because whenever I know and I can plan for lovemaking, it makes such a difference. Now we can think, oh, like what we see in the movies and on TV, it's like everything's just really fast and then hot and heavy and the scene's over and they loved it. That's not how it really works in real life. So being able to have that time and anticipate is key. It will take a moment for the woman to get into that mode and that mindset of really being open and receptive to lovemaking. We think that planning for sex or putting on our calendar is very unsexy, but it's so important to prioritize your pleasure. And then we can know what our bandwidth is for the day. And I can think, oh, maybe I would want to have a nap because studies have shown that women actually need more hours of sleep per day than a male. So being sure that she's rested, being sure that she's ready, and that she's able to dedicate this time and already start to let go of the stresses of the day and start to get that mind, again, the largest sex organ, into anticipating that. And that can already start to pre-build that arousal. So planning things, having a date night, it can be something super simple, but just having that intentionality and knowing that you're wanting to connect and experience intimacy and pleasure together later can really heat things up as you get into it because she's already been preparing herself for this experience with you. Also, with women's arousal scale and understanding that it takes longer for us to get turned on. So don't just rush into it. Even if, oh, we have this lube and I can just put some lube on there and then penetrate. And sometimes it can feel really sexy whenever you are first penetrating a woman and she's not quite ready, but then as she's feeling you, then all of a sudden she gets wet and opens up to you. That can be a sexy experience, but that it shouldn't be something you're doing all the time because women inside, we can get these little micro tears that can be really uncomfortable, especially as with I'm a menopausal woman, that can be an even bigger factor. So what you want to do is take that time and be sure that she's like dripping wet with desire before you start to penetrate, taking the time for foreplay. And one of the lubricants that I love to use is coconut oil. Now it can degrade and break down latex condoms, so be aware of that if you're needing to use condoms to be safe, to prevent pregnancy, that is priority. But if you already have those bases covered and you're able to use coconut oil, I highly recommend it. Then if you want to switch things up later and give or receive oral, you don't have the weird flavors from some other lubricants or the chemicals that are in there. So I get some organic coconut oil. It's amazing. Pay attention to her body language before you penetrate her. Be sure that she's ready. Listen to her sounds of her body. Even ask her. And another beautiful thing to do with Tantra is having that intentionality. So we can even state the intention of the connection we're wanting to have with our lover and share that and be sure that they're open and receptive. And then going in and entering the woman as like an honoring. It's a, you're having a worship of one another through this intimacy, through the pleasure. You're adoring her body. She's adoring your body. And it enhances the experience for both of you. Another thing that men can do that's a common mistake is that you're stuck in your fantasy world and you're in your head playing on a fantasy. And women were very intuitive. And it can literally feel sometimes like you're just masturbating inside of our bodies. We're like, do we even need to be here for this? So be sure that you're connecting because your presence and you being able to connect in is key. More so than what your size is or anything, we want to connect with you. And so whenever you're able to have that connection, that presence, and use intimacy and eye gazing and be fully present with us in that moment and co-create this amazing experience, that enhances everything. If you're just experiencing a moment where you're just wanting to be in fantasy land and think about something else other than the person that you're with, go do that on your own time through a self-pleasure session and don't invite her into that because that disconnection is going to have her not as excited to make love to you in the future because she's not going to be able to completely sense what's going on here, but there will be a sense of, okay, I don't want to do this. Now, I experienced this. I had a lover that I had 20 orgasms with. It was an incredible experience. Afterwards, he shared with me that he was thinking of math equations in his head so he could last longer. And I appreciate that he was wanting to last longer and ensure that I had a lot of pleasure. I couldn't understand why I didn't want to be with him again intimately. And we've remained as friends and we'll laugh about this sometimes, but I just couldn't figure that out. And this is before I had my experience with Tantra. Then when I understood Tantra and the energetics and the power of presence, I was like, oh, it's because even though on a technical level, he was giving me a lot of pleasure and going through the motions of things, he wasn't present and connecting with me. And I could feel that disconnect and it made me not desire him as much because it's almost like you have a wall that you're being put up between you and that person. And it's definitely not a turn on because women, we really desire like that connection and being really close and losing ourselves in one another and not one of us being lost out here in a fantasy land. Staying present with your partner and connecting to your body and to their body is so important. And with tantric practices, you're actually able to even sense the energy from your lover and know the things that she's desiring. It's like you share this intuition and communication is great. Sometimes words don't even need to be said. And I've had lovers be with me and I'm just like, wow, I feel more what I want in my body than I do. They're reading me like an open book and could tell everything that I'm desiring without even words being said. And that's just such a deeper level of presence and connection that a lot of people are missing. But when you can connect with her desires and understanding her body's needs in addition to your own, you can transform your experiences together. It's important before you enter the bedroom that your stress is managed. If you're stressed, take time to decompress before entering the bedroom. Practice a somatic body shake. They call it a Shiva shake. You just shake your whole body out, shake your arms, your feet, your booty, your legs. shake off that stress. In nature, you'll see animals do this when they've been in a stressful situation. But as humans, we don't give ourselves this grace, and all this pressure builds up within our system. And you can feel like, okay, my stressful day, I'm not going to lash out on my partner or let them feel that. I'm just going to keep it here. And men, unfortunately, due to patriarchy and the way you were raised, are taught to not show their emotions. Big boys don't cry. And you get so used to stuffing these things down in your body, and that creates tension and stress, and it can be felt. Our bodies and our nervous system, we are very primal, back into like caveman days for survival. So we have learned how to hone in and tune into one another's nervous system. So if your nervous system is dysregulated, but you're going through the motions of trying to romance your lover, she may be resisting and not really desire you, but she doesn't know why. She's, I think I would want to have sex with him, but something is feeling off. That's her somatic body, her nervous system feeling you're stressed and getting that alert of danger. And for a woman to be in her most ecstatic states of pleasure and bliss, she needs to feel full safety with you so that she can completely open up and surrender and relax. To get to those states, you have to set the tone for this. It's like you're setting the thermostat of like how the evening is going to be by managing the stress within yourself. Unfortunately, a lot of times, both men and women, we can use sex as a way to dump the stressors of the day. And this is how we're going to release that. But you're literally releasing all that stress and anxiety into your lover. And then you wonder why the next day or afterwards, she seems more stressed or more easily upset because she's taking on this energy. Because women, we are we are the receiver, and you're literally just inserting all of this energetically into our bodies. And I know it sounds really woo, but it's a real thing. Trust me. So remember, your stress can transfer to your partner, affecting her ability to relax and enjoy the moment. Another practice you can do is doing a primal yell, yelling like Tarzan. You can do this on your way home from work, roll down your window. If you yell in the car, you don't want to yell inside the car and have the windows rolled up and keep that negative energy inside there. Roll down your windows and let it out. Yell out your car window on the side of the road. Go in nature where you can yell, and deep, it can be like these pressure cookers, and it's just building. You want to take that stress off. Do a primal yell. The other thing to do is to meditate, just to take a few moments, 10 minutes or so, and take some slow, deep belly breaths into your belly. That will help to stimulate your vagus nerve and slow down your nervous system so you can regulate, so you can get into that state where you're also going to feel sexier. And when you manage the stress, it will help you last longer. The more tension or stress a man holds in his body, the faster he will ejaculate. The more stress a woman is holding in her body, the more challenging it will be for her to be orgasmic. So managing that stress before you even think about entering into the bedroom or lovemaking is so important, and it will really help your relationship thrive as well, because our partners are not supposed to be literal dumping grounds for our stress and frustrations, and we forget that. Unfortunately, so many of us, we never have been taught how to have healthy relationships, how to have sacred sexuality, how to have amazing sex. Another thing with the nervous system is I did have a client, and he was in his 60s, and when I started guiding him on nervous system regulation, all of a sudden his wife started initiating sex with him more. He was so shocked. I asked him, how long has it been since your wife initiated sex with you? He goes, it has been decades. Their sex life radically improved. He says, I had no idea that the stress I was having in my body was impacting our love life this way. So once he started to relax his nervous system, then she started desiring him because she felt safer in his presence. We've been dumbed down by society about what's truly possible for us to experience, and these experiences can be deeply healing for us when we approach it with the respect and the honoring that we should. Another thing is to pace yourself, slow down, avoid those rapid jackhammer, high pressure movements. You think you're doing a lot and you're exerting a lot of energy. And if anything, it's just tiring your body and it's increasing that tension in your body and will have you finish faster than you want. Slow things down. And I'm going to demonstrate with you how you can do this and how this works. Your brain is your largest sex organ. What I want you to do, if you're not driving your car and you're able to do this, I want you to just take a moment and get your hands and bring them together and rub them back and forth really fast. Okay, now take your hands and rub them back and forth very slowly. I want you to notice how much more sensation you feel when you go slow. That's because the brain is the largest sex organ. So whenever you're going really fast and you're penetrating your lover, what will happen is her brain can't even process that rapid movement. So it's more of numbing out, and it doesn't feel as good. And it's not as creating as much pleasurable sensation for the woman to experience. Now, sometimes women, because we've also watched adult videos, we think that's what's desired because that's what we see. So we're like, harder, faster. Sometimes women can be doing this because they may have had a trauma in the past where they may feel feel numbed out or disconnected from their pleasure. They may have shame about their sexuality. So they want you to just go faster because they're not as sensitive because of the numbness, the disconnection from their bodies, because they don't always feel safe in their bodies. If they've ever had any type of sexual trauma, and 1 in 4 people have in the past, they may even have a repressed memory they're not aware of. And don't enter this into a conversation and tell the woman, hey, I think that maybe you had a sexual trauma in the past. They don't remember that, because that can be really devastating if they're not quite ready to face that work or to do that type of healing. It can overwhelm their nervous system. But what you want to do is be sensitive and know this could be something that has been experienced. And if in our bodies we don't feel safe, what we will do is we'll disconnect and orbit outside of our bodies. That's one way of daydreaming, as a way of escaping our body and our environment. So we're like out here and we're feeling safer. And so if someone's not fully in their body or feel fully safe to land in their body, your nervous system is really dysregulated and they're feeling that and they're not really in their body, they may be feeling a little more numbness. And so they're like, oh, harder. So it could be that, or it could be just, oh, this is what I've learned from watching adult videos. And this is what the female stars do. So I should be doing this too. We start to think that this is the best way. If these are professionals who are getting paid to do this, we must be learning from them because they're professionals, but they are actors and actresses. And we need to remember that. The ancient wisdom with Tantra really teaches us how to have intimacy and pleasure in ways that porn stars aren't even able to even fathom. These prolonged states of ecstatic bliss and pleasure and connection are deeply healing, like the sexual healing Marvin Gaye would sing about. So what you want to do instead is go slowly in. And even whenever you're going in, instead of just thrusting and using it as a thrusting device and hitting back into the cervix, even just doing it where you're pushing up in the vaginal canal up to the top wall of the vaginal canal where the G spot is, almost as if you're using your finger to go in. And if you were fingering and try to stimulate the G spot, you're wanting to create a little bit of suction with your penis and then glide across the top wall of the vaginal canal. You're massaging and stimulating it. And if you're not thrusting as powerfully back and forth, also she's not going to get those little micro tears or be so sore, because if there's a lot of soreness, I think in the male ego is like, oh yeah, I tore that up. Song about beat the P up with that lyric. We get programmed by society, but if she's sore, she's not going to desire being with you for a few days because she's going to have to recover. You want this to be an amazing experience for both of you. So slow things down, slow your breathing down and just be gentle. And then as she starts to be more orgasmic and things start to intense, then you can build things up and you can have a little more intensity and play within that range, but don't start out going fast and furious. The most transformative thing for you to understand about intimacy, it's not just about the physical act, but the connection, connecting with them energetically, being able to have a heart to heart connection. Eye gazing is a great practice because it's intimacy and is such a beautiful thing whenever we can connect deeply and allow ourselves to fully see our lover and to be fully seen by our lover. Just tuning into her needs and responding throughout the day, not just during sex, will make you an exceptional lover. Be sure your hands are clean, that your fingernails are trimmed, there's not any sharp edges. That can make such a big difference. That you're washed below the waist, because a woman's pH balance can be easily thrown off. You want to avoid body soaps that can have a lot of harsh chemicals, including heavy scents, because these can be hormone disruptors. So just a gentle, mild soap and clean things up, and that can help ensure that your partner's pH stays balanced even after the fact. And this will have them desire you more because their body's going to respond to you more whenever their body's able to maintain their balance and their health. Be sure to brush your teeth and don't use any mouthwashes though, because some of the mouthwashes, they destroy your microbiome. You have to be really careful what type of mouthwash you use. And certain mouthwashes can even impact your erections. I'll share more on this in another video. Simple toothpaste, rinse your mouth out, and that will make a world of difference. This will ensure her health and comfort too. We just went over some of the mistakes that many men make, and it's not to shame you, it's just to help you to be aware. Those mistakes can go from neglecting proper foreplay and hygiene to misunderstanding the importance of a relaxed and attentive approach in the bedroom. By making these changes, you can significantly improve both you and your partner's satisfaction. And the more that she is satisfied, the more she is going to be wanting and desiring to have these experiences with you again. And you can increase the frequency of your lovemaking. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching. And remember, great intimacy starts with understanding, communication, and mutual respect.